Coming at you live from got a little bit of a bedridden instructor here. We're actually going to start off with the trade here this morning. It's one that I was looking at overnight because I've been pretty bearish on the pound, and post retail sales this morning, which were actually positive, I was looking for opportunities to short the pound, and what I was really looking at was I was waiting till after the retail sales number. I was looking at this 4,500 level right in here, and if the pound were able to make it below this 4,500 level, I was going to give this one a shot to go short. A shot to go short. Say that 5 times fast. And that was one of my strategies, and we got a lot of things working on this. You can look at the PitView indicator right up in here, looking at -6, so it's already gone -5. Got a lot of things working in our favor here. Arrows down, so liquidity providers have this was actually making a divergence as it was coming up. It was showing a lot of selling pressure here on the pound. We're already at a -5, and we've been there. I was just waiting for the opportunity to kind of wait out the retail sales number, because I thought if we had a horrible number, because the markets have been taking a beating this week, that we would see a turn in the futures. But I think this one might have a shot either way. Even if the market goes down, the pound has tended to kind of have a mind of its own, mainly based on oil prices also. Pound has been correlating very highly with oil prices. Phil, if you're in the room, you were absolutely right on that one on Monday. So I'm going to take I know it's coming up right now, but all I was looking for was a close beneath that 4,500 level. I'm going to take a shot on this to go short on one lot. And looks like my MetaTrader is not responding to the order. So let's see here. Where's my MetaTrader? Not responding. Well, I got to do it somehow. We'll do it the manual way. There we go. Put one lot in. So I'm selling it here at the market. You can almost look at this as kind of a red arrow trade. Everything's kind of pointing down on the pound right now. So our sell entry was at the market. Let me go ahead and see if see where my entry was. Hold on a second. I got 2 in there, so let's close out one of those since I'm profitable by 1 cent right now. We'll keep the second one open. All right, there we go. So, ooh, that could have been dangerous, right? There could have been some danger in there. I probably should have checked that terminal before I put that up there. My stop, I'm going to put my stop at 50 pips. So my entry is 1.44933. So I'm going to put my stop at 1.45433. And I'm going to put my limit at 1.44433. Looking to risk 50 to make 50. Preferably you'd like your stop to be above this swing high. However, we've been kind of, and we don't always use 50 pip stops, folks, but we've been using it since we have higher volatility in the market to ensure that, you know, we're not risking more than a certain percentage of our account. I'm going just for a 1-to-1 risk reward here. So I put my stop 50 pips away. And limit at a 1-to-1 risk reward. Fridays are usually the days where we do just even, you know, there is one that I think we could take a shot at getting a higher risk reward on, but we're going to have to wait for some further confirmation on it, and I'll show it to you here in just a second. But it just seems like everything is pointing in in our direction for that trade right now. We've gotten a break of a key level. It's in the direction of the LP trend line, showing a -5, so it's showing a nice sell imbalance. So it'll probably be a loser. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Generally, the ones that have lined up pretty well for us have been done pretty well by us, but so I guess I'm just taking that pessimistic approach to that trade right now. So that's our open trade for right now. So we'll go ahead and put that in the trading room for this morning. I wouldn't consider this more of a, I don't really consider this to be a risk off trade. We're just really trading pound weakness here. Which the pound, I'm calling it pound weakness just because of the fact that it can go either way. It can go, the pound could get stronger if the market, the pound could get weaker if the markets sell off, or if oil sells off in any direction. It could get weaker if the markets go up, and the dollar, and if the dollar starts, because we're right in the midst of the U.S. session right now. So if dollar strength takes control, that could also lead the pound lower. So there's no need to put a a headline on this one as far as being risk on and risk off, because this one probably has a chance either way. Sold into break of 4,500 level. Our 1 hour taken during class. And so we shall put some lipstick on that pig this morning. Some of you don't ever get that reference. That's a reference to an old Charles Schwab commercial back in the day where it showed a financial executive, at a brokerage company trying to sell like a bad stock to people. And here's our good friend, the CAD yen. Talked quite a bit about this one yesterday. I never got in. I was sleeping during this time. This is where I would have gotten in. And so when I woke up this morning, I didn't take a short on this CAD yen because it had formed a trend line right in through here. I think we also should prepare ourselves for some type of risk off trading today. The fact that the markets are up, futures are up this morning. I believe I have that on the Yahoo Finance here. Futures are indicating a positive open, plus 153. S&Ps are indicating up 20. NASDAQ's indicating up 38. Oil's up 4% right now. It's bouncing. But you can see, look at the price. It's still well under $30 a barrel. So all those oil traders that most of us always talk to the oil experts, which is everybody. Seems like everybody in the market is an oil expert, that are always saying, well, it can't go down anymore. Well, don't hold your breath, buddy. Absolutely can go down more. So that's one of the bad things about talking to anybody about the market. Everybody's an expert. And if you know me well enough at all, you know that I don't even believe that there is such thing as an expert in the market. Because we are speculators. There's good traders and bad traders. But there's no such thing as an expert. Just watch CNBC some morning and you'll know what I'm talking about. All right. CAD yen is another one that I'm looking at here. I'm looking for a sell entry. I'm probably you can look for a break. We'll look for a break of the trend line here and a -5 on the 1 hour totals. Kind of like, I know Tom sometimes asks this question. If you want to be more conservative on that, we have a nice little trend line forming in here. And this is the one trade today where I think we have some room for a higher risk reward ratio. But if you wanted to, you could wait for a close beneath this trend line if you wanted to be a little bit more conservative on the entry. If it breaks down through here and it comes to like a -5, that would certainly be a much more aggressive entry. But we all know that when the markets do sell off, when CAD yen does sell off, it tends to sell off pretty fast. So this is one where you'd want to really keep a sharp eye on it and make sure that any sign of a reversal that you get in on So put your stop 50 pips away. And on this one, you can almost look for a one. This is the one where we could probably look for a 1 to 1.5 risk reward ratio, because if it flies to the downward direction, it could certainly go further. So pound's doing pretty well right now. Got about 25 pips in that trade. That was me knocking on wood. We'll call it, in fact, we'll make a knock on wood trade. Sorry, wacky mood today. All right, we can erase that. All right, let's get to the risk off. Market's down yen strength. We're going to sell CAD yen. This CAD yen, if it executes, the pound is probably one that I would close out before 5 p.m. today. The CAD yen is probably one that you could keep open over the weekend. And there's a method to my madness here. If you look at something like Forex Factory, and here let's go into Forex Factory real quick. You can see it's been a banking holiday in China all throughout the week, so we really haven't had any indication of what's happening with China. If you listen to Yellen on Wednesday, a lot of her global concerns surrounded China. Now, what happened to the market this week? Well, the market got pretty well pounded this week. I mean, we've been negative after negative day in the stock markets all around the world. Yellen didn't help things much. I thought she might, because I think she did take a March interest rate hike off the table subtly, but I think she did because of her concerns over the global markets. That's what happened back in 2015. When she raised concerns over China, it essentially meant that they took June and then they took September off the table. So my point being that with how volatile and the markets have been, I would certainly look to. I think China is probably going to open down, and China, I think, because it's their spring festival this week, or for their Chinese New Year, and I think when they do finally open, I think you could potentially see a large sell-off in China and their stock market with the way the global markets have behaved this week. Fear is a powerful, powerful thing. It is a very, very powerful thing in the markets. So, the fact that fear has been kind of the driving factor in the market, not just this week, but since the beginning of the year, then we could be in store for that. So CAD yen is one that I would certainly say, if we do get an execution on that, I would not be opposed, if you will, to holding that one open during the weekend. On this CAD yen, by the way, what I am going to do, though, is I will wait until after 9:30, after our markets open, before getting in. So even if this does break down below this trend line here at the open, or here before the open, I'll probably still wait until after the open. We may even wait a little bit further, like wait till 10 o'clock, to make sure, even if it does break down below the trend line. We'll kind of play that one by ear for right now. Switching gears here, euro dollar. Now, this wasn't exactly a PitView trade. This is more of a naked trading scenario that we went through in the Nuri FX classes. I did hit on the euro dollar yesterday when it closed beneath the This is one to where we were just playing just the support and resistance levels here, but it made a close below 113 yesterday, and I went ahead and put in a short on it, and I put my stop like 45 pips away, and I'd actually hit a max profit on that, but I actually made a boo-boo there. I probably still would have hit for about 30 pips on this trade, but one of the things that I hit the max profit of like 45 pips. I wouldn't call that a good trade though, because honestly, when I was looking at the retail sales, I was planning on, I was still looking at CAD yen for some reason and looking at the pound, and I didn't have my terminal up, or the trades up. And I had kind of forgotten that before I went to bed that I had shorted the euro dollar. So that was more of a mistake. The fact that I hit a max profit, my plan was to close it out before non-farm payroll. So even though I made about 45 pips on that one, it should have only been about 20 or 225, if you will, that I should have made on that, because it was kind of an error. I had planned to keep that one. I had planned on keeping that one or closing that one before the markets, before the retail sales number this morning. Speaking of retail sales, we did get a positive retail sales number this morning, about as positive we could have possibly gotten. Not only did we get an uptick in the retail sales number, core retail sales up 0.1% month to month. That excludes automobiles. Including automobiles up 0.2%, and they actually revised the previous numbers, which were negative, to positive numbers. So we got some upward revisions in retail sales. We got a positive retail sales number. That definitely kept the futures higher. It didn't really make the futures go up that much more, but it certainly kept the futures from selling off. It obviously drove the dollar immediately higher right after those numbers. The question would be, is that going to be enough? We talked about this yesterday. Is that going to be enough to alleviate the fear in the market right now? So, in my case, I don't know if that's going to be enough to alleviate the fear. We were just basically looking for a dead cat bounce here on the euro. And yes, Phil, thanks for stealing my thunder, buddy. Just kidding. This is another one that we could look at on both euro dollar and dollar Swiss. I think they're both making some headway. We've been kind of looking for some reversals here on the euro dollar. This is also one that I don't consider to be a risk off trade or a risk on trade, if you will. It certainly helps if the markets go up to bring the euro dollar up. But there is a nice little trend line that's formed in here after the last bar, to where you see 1, 2, 3 bounces off of this trend line. And that's one of the reasons why I had brought it up. But perfect little trend line there that's formed. Thing is as this has been making lower lows, it's actually been making higher highs on the trend line. It's been staying above the +5 level. So I do think that if this breaks down, if this does go -5, I think that it will totally reverse course here. I think it will start making lower lows, because you could look at trading the euro dollar really in either direction, in my opinion. You could almost trade it to the upside also if you wanted to, should the markets decline. We don't really need to look for that direction on the euro dollar though, because we already have a short trade in mind for the market, which is the CAD yen pair, should the market start to sell off. So in this case, what I was going to look for was, actually I probably should zoom out on this. All throughout here, we have been making higher highs. So I mean, we are in the midst of an uptrend. Higher high, higher low, higher high, still a higher low. But this would be considered a reversal trade. So not all the time are we going to get the LP trend line in our favor on reversal trades. A lot of times you're going to be trading, that's the thing about trading into an overall uptrend. I would like to see this thing coming down more, but it has been steadily, making some higher highs in through here also. So we would certainly want this breaking lower, and I think a -5 would do that. It would certainly bring this lower as far as the averages go. I'll show you what I mean by that here in just a second. You know, if you're trading with PitView and what we would consider to be the PitView method, if you will, you want your trade to line up. You want this to be breaking lower. You want -5. You want this breaking through a key level. So that's the only thing that's a little offsetting about this euro dollar right in through here. But for a sell entry on this, I would look for a close below the trend line and a -5 on the 1 hour totals. I would look for a little bit more confirmation there on the euro dollar. Every time you can see how much buying pressure there's been at these wicks right in through here. The wicks or shadows on the candlesticks. Simply put, I always look at these wicks and these shadows as being buying pressure. So there's obviously a lot of buying pressure every time this comes down and makes a lower low, and that's confirmed by this trend line going up right in through here. You know, that's the thing when you're kind of trading these overall reversals in the market. They're a little scarier to trade, you know, than going with the trend. Some of this has to do with my gut feel too of I just think that the euro dollar, I don't know if you've heard it in the news or not, but you know, now they're expecting in March from the ECB for them to potentially lower their deposit rate by like upwards of 0.4%. They're also looking to extend their QE program. So just to put that into simple terms for you, also, you got to think like a central banker sometimes, and I just don't think Mario Draghi is a big fan of the euro and the strength that the euro has shown. I don't think Mario Draghi is a fan of how high the euro is. I don't think Thomas Jordan from the Swiss National Bank is a big fan of where the Swiss franc is as far as strength. I don't think Hirohiko Kuroda is a big fan of the yen strength that we've seen in the market. These guys are all trying to make their currencies weaker, and every time the market takes a crap, they they not only get the worst of both worlds. Not only does their markets go down, but their currencies get stronger, and that's definitely not a situation they want to be in. So as we start approaching, getting closer to mark, my long-term view is there's going to be a long-term reversal on this euro dollar, and as we scooch closer and closer to their March meeting, especially, I think you're going to start to see this start to break down a bit more. I mean, it doesn't have to, but just fundamental common sense would kind of tell you that it should, but nothing has to do anything. Just like the oil comment I made earlier. For this one, on the euro dollar, if we're looking at stop orders, for a stop order on this, you know, you could use this as a swing because it did come down, it touched the trend line. You could use this high right up in here as a swing. So put your stop at like 1.12790. Or if it makes a further bounce, I think that would be a good place for a stop, is right up above this previous candle, because came down, hit, and this was the high. So I mean, you could call this a bounce. You could call this one a bounce also, if you wanted to even risk less, if you will. And then Friday trades, look for a limit, 1-to-1 risk reward. And I'm going to stay on this one here for a second. I'm going to zoom in much more here. When trading a lot of these reversal strategies, and I know there's a lot of you PitView users in the class here, what I mean by looking for reversal here on the LP trend line is you can see that it's been making higher highs and higher lows, right? Higher high, higher low, higher high. Now, just because it goes -5 doesn't necessarily mean that it has to come down and make and break that and go lower. So what I would look for, and you can almost, it's not going to be a trend line, but I would, or I'm sorry, I would look for it to be breaking lower. You know, if it is going to make a downward move right in through here, I would certainly want it to be breaking breaking lower right in through here. You know, I'd want it to be making a lower low. That does not always happen. We've seen it before where these things make these divergences, if you will, in the midst of a downtrend. This is a divergence right in through here. The reason why we're not trading the euro to the upside, though, is because the CAD yen I thought was a better candidate this morning for going short on the market. So that's what I mean by when I say, you know, look for this to break lower. You know, here's our previous low. I would like for this to be breaking lower right in through here before getting a short trade. And if the euro dollar starts going up, I'm assuming that the CAD yen will probably come down, and that'll be our best bet for a risk off trade. See, trade if we were looking for opportunities to buy the euro dollar, we'd be looking at a risk off trade also. But I don't think it's necessary to double down on that here this morning. Just some food for thought. We'll call this a dollar strength trade. It could be looked at as a risk on trade. But as I stated yesterday, markets may not have to recover fully for this to go up. And we got about 1 minute here till the market opens. Let's swing back around to our CAD yen and check out what that's doing. So that hasn't broken down yet. Pound dollar, we're up 30 pips on. And, you know, there's always that other part of trading to where, you know, if you hit 50 pips on the pound, if there's that knock on wood again, if we hit that 50 pips on the pound, you could always call it a day. That's the other option. 50 pips in a market such as this on a Friday, not a bad thing if we hit it. I'm not saying we will, but if we do. We've had trades before that have gone close to our stop by a fractional pip and then gone in our direction and hit our max profit. And we've also had trades that have gone close to our max profit by a fractional pip and then gone up, down, and stopped us out. So that's always why I knock on wood. Take off some of these objects. Kind of looking at all these things together today. And here, let me take off put the euro dollar back up on here. Let's see, euro dollar starting to make a case for a break below. You know, between the euro dollar and also on dollar Swiss is another one to where, you know, we're looking for a short on the euro dollar, but dollar Swiss also presents us with some opportunity right in through here. Kind of looking, if you wanted to go longer term, I would look right at this 9,800 level right in through here. If we can make a sustained break above that. This may sound a little freaky because I never I never want to speculate on what a central bank's going to do, because it's kind of an exercise in futility, because central banks are highly unpredictable. But since it is a Friday here, if you were to start to see this dollar Swiss make a strong break above this 9,800 level, one thing that's been kind of put out there in the markets and warned about is the fact that the Swiss National Bank still holds the rights. They always remind the market that the Swiss National Bank at any time could go in and potentially intervene in their currency value. Thomas Jordan reminded us all of that the last time they had an interest rate announcement. This would be the day for them to do it, to be honest with you. I think if they were smart anyway, if they wanted to come in and intervene and bring the Swiss up, I think this would be the day to do it. And the reason why I say that is because we got, when the Chinese stock markets start to open, next week, I think there's a lot of people that might be with the fact that these currencies, the Swiss, the euro, and these other currencies have been getting stronger every time there's a large market sell-off. It may not be a bad time for the Swiss to try to weaken their currency here on a Friday, knowing full well that when the markets open on Sunday, they could be in for a further upward move, I should say, on the Swiss. If the global markets start to sell off and their currencies continue trading off of that risk aversion that we always talk about, or that risk off. Now this would, pretty much the euro and the Swiss are going to be, they're going to trade pretty much in tandem with one another. So, when you look at this, you got to kind of take it for a grain of salt. But if I do see the Swiss, if you start to see the Swiss make a big turn, and let's say you start to see the Swiss go to like a +5, like it's -3 right now. If you start to see it make a large move above this 9,800 level, then it could be in for a larger move to the upside. And that's pure speculation. I'm just thinking sometimes you got to think outside the box a little bit. And it has to scare some of these currencies like the euro, the Swiss, the yen. Scare you a little bit, the fact that, we are in for a Chinese opening that could be extremely volatile, because if there's been one market that's been driven by fear, it's certainly China. So we'll put this one down as just another one to look out for on the dollar Swiss here, because you can see this one's been making some really extreme lower lows also. So I wouldn't want to touch this one either unless, you saw some big buying pressure coming in. So keep an eye on that level, keep an eye on that 9,800 level. And if we do see a large, what the hell happened? .9800. There we go. So keep an eye on that 9,800 level. Keep an eye on, the same things. Look at that LP trend line. Look at these previous highs right in through here. If you do start to see a large, remember, PitView is, it's not really an indicator. It's more of a fundamental indicator. It's just delivering data to you of what the major liquidity providers are doing. And if you do see a large turn on the liquidity providers today, and you do see this thing start to go up above 9,800, and you see all these things start to reverse course, then this could be an alternative, if you will, to the euro dollar trade. So you could look for a buy entry. Break of 9,800. go. And then if you get that, I would put your stop just below the swing low. You know, the previous low, if you will, because you're looking for a break of a key level. So just put your stop 1 pip below previous low. We'll call it a 50 pip max. Look for a limit of 1-to-1 risk reward. And markets are open, and we're getting, you know, a positive open here. I guess it's positive. Dow's up about 105 points. S&P's up like 33. Yeah, Dow's up like 103 now. So they are making a bit of a positive open here. Although they were indicating up, like the Dow was up, indicating to be up about, like S&P's up 15. The Dow was indicating to be up like 150 plus. So all is not right with the world just yet. Let's check out this CAD. So CAD's just sitting there. Not making really that much headway right in there. Probably should put this trend line is pretty good if you just put them right at the lows. There we go. Nothing shaking on that one just yet. See what's going on with the pound. Pound must have gotten pretty close. I got within about 5 or 6 pips of our take profit. I mean, there is some support right down in through here. Now we can keep this one on. It's already reached 50% of our take profit, so well over 50%. So it's reached like 90% of our take profit. So on the pound, you know, if you wanted to continue trailing your stop down using like a 3-bar reversal after this hour's up, it would still be the same spot, but keep an eye on that one. You know, it's obviously made a pretty big trend line here to the downside. You know, at this point, you know, when something gets between 4 or 5 pips of my break-even point, you'd almost want to look to put your stop at break-even at this point, because it got within like 4 or 5 pips, or just watch it. Just watch it, and you can even use a 1-bar reversal, if you will. Like break-even would be right up above this high. So Just want to keep an eye on it. Hate to give back 30 pips to the market. You know, another way to gauge that would be if CAD yen starts to drop and you get an execution on that, you can almost consider closing out the pound position. This is where a little bit of discretion becomes involved in trading, because everybody's a little bit different on how they treat profitable trades. And let's see here. Dow's still up. S&P's up 16, so we're up about 130 right now. 115 on the Dow, 16 on the S&P, 35 on the Nasdaq. So all in all, not a bad little day. So I'll keep that pound open for now. Euro tried to make a move below here. Didn't quite make a close beneath that trend line. Let's see, what's shaking out with the yen today? What's going on with the yen? Let's take a look at this bad boy. Yeah, this one's still been extremely consolidated right down in here. See, if we get a large sell-off today, this yen will come down, and it will probably drive CAD yen down also, and that's only if and only if the markets were to sell off here. I kind of do rather favor, I've been favoring the downside of the equation. Even though the markets are up today, you would think that fear would get the best. Fear still has a stranglehold on the market today. I certainly wouldn't believe any analysts if they were to call this a rally. This is not a rally. This is a dead cat bounce today. Market's been down 5 freaking days in a row. So just because the Dow's up 104 points doesn't necessarily mean that it's rallying. So just a little words there. Not a rally. Certainly a dead cat bounce, which is essentially what we've been calling it almost every time the market goes up as of late since the beginning of the year. We've been calling almost every little rally in the market or upward momentum in the market, we've been calling it a dead cat bounce. Let's see here, just to kind of go through the trading sheet here with you. Oil's below 30. Yellen testimony was slightly dovish. It's almost neutral. She did bring up, she brought up the, negative rates as far as them being discussed back in, I think, 2010. She expressed concern over the global outlook, mainly China. And let's see, what else did she do? Well, that's pretty much, it was just slightly dovish to neutral. And retail sales came out 0.2 versus 0.1, which has led to dollar strength and has also led to some risk on in the market. And be careful. Be careful when China opens, and that would be on Sunday for me, Sunday evening. Monday for them. We could be in for a which would favor, see below. So we are trading technical this morning. I mean, we're still looking to favor more of a risk-off approach to the market. We did enter the pound dollar trade at the beginning of class, and we are really trading the U.S. dollar in either direction. We're trading the markets in either direction. We're trading dollar strength versus the euro. We're trading pound weakness. In fact, most of the trades we're placing right now are more of the risk-off approach, but we are looking to trade dollar strength versus the pound, euro, and Swiss. Should we get good confirmation? I'll need to use a 3-bar reversal upon entry today. And then on the CAD yen, this is one we kind of discussed earlier. CAD yen, I would have no problems really holding the CAD yen open during the weekend. I think it would be worth the speculation of Chinese stocks opening down to short CAD yen, and should it give you a confirmation, not that it will, but should it give you a confirmation today and you're at that 5 o'clock hour, and let's say you don't get a take, if your take profit doesn't get hit, if your stop doesn't get hit, and you're getting to the market close at 5 p.m. and you're thinking to yourself, well, should I close this out? This CAD yen right in here is probably the one that I would say, you know what, let's go ahead and look to trade, keep that one open over the weekend, because if I think anything, the Chinese stock market would favor more of a downside movement. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So that's all I got. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say that's all I got. I mean, that's a lot of different strategies for a Friday. So let me go ahead and share this with you. There we go. Under handouts, let me go ahead and put that on there. And last thing I'm going to do here, after kind of mulling it over in my head a little bit, is at the very least, this is Friday, I don't feel like giving, if trades in my favor, I'm not a big fan of giving everything back on this, meaning I'm not a big fan of going negative on this trade. So I am going to actually, at the very least, I'm going to put my stop in at break even. Getting stopped out at break even. No, it's not fun when you're up like 45 pips on a trade. Either put your stop at break even or take it off if you're not that big of a Friday trader. Either one. But, you know, I have no problems breaking even on a trade. It sucks when it's 45 pips in your favor, as this one was. But I'd rather get stopped out at break even than have the market totally reverse on me, because there's nothing like being stopped out with a loss. So I moved my stop to break even there. Or at least I think I did. There we go. My screen's freezing up again. Take that down. Pause. Sorry, I'm just making sure the handout is in there. Okay, yeah, the handout's in there. So yeah, stops at break even. Put that at break even on the pound at the very least. If you want to take it off and capture that 30 pips, it's nothing wrong with taking 30 pips out of the market. I'm always kind of a stickler for one-to-one risk reward. People always say you can't lose money by making money, but in the long run, actually, you can if you're always consistently risking more than you're taking profits back on. But certainly wouldn't be anything wrong with taking a profit off on that pound if you just want to kind of take that one off the table. Not something I would certainly blame anybody on. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and log off here. So if you do have any questions, let me know. And good luck today. Let me know if you have any questions. Colin, I'll be returning your email here after class, so won't be a long goodbye. I shall chat with everybody on Monday. And no, my back's a little bit better, but I'm still bedridden. The only difference is today I have to actually get up to get food and coffee and stuff because my wife's not serving me room service today. So I guess I only get one day of sick room service. So anyway, but hopefully we'll be all set and better by Monday. So anyway, have a great weekend, everybody. Have a happy Valentine's Day, and I will chat with everybody later. Bye-bye.